I'm really glad to be here and just wanted to say thank you all for coming and to IFPRI for inviting me. So I am going to just talk a little bit about how the results of the arena, the first arena, sort of landed on my ears, and then also share with you, I did one key informative interview with a lead ag economist in the Africa region at the bank to sort of ground truth what I was thinking. So basically, I would say that kind of on a high level, this research is landing at an incredibly opportune time at the World Bank. You all know, because our president was just here a few weeks ago or a couple of months ago, that there is incredible support for human capital development through every sector at the World Bank. Jim Kim has challenged us all to make sure that this is, that's our mission. And as you also know, at the London Summit Nutrition for Growth in 2013, the World Bank committed to reviewing every single agriculture project to understand what, if any, room there was for applying a nutrition lens, and we have indeed done that. So now there's a process in place to review every ag investment project. There is a systematic commitment to review every project document in the pipeline, and then at the end of every fiscal year, we do a rapid review of where we are in terms of a nutrition-sensitive agricultural component. And just to say, I'm drawing from a study that hasn't yet been published. It's in review, but just to give you a sense of where we are, our baseline in fiscal year 2012, was around 12% of the ag portfolio showed a nutrition-sensitive component, and now it's getting close to doubling, although that's not final. The results of the study aren't quite final. I would say that we have support from the highest levels of leadership within the World Bank for taking a nutrition lens and applying it to agricultural programming. We have really strong support for and a push for cross-sectoral engagement at the bank. And I think we often say that this is an incredibly strong value add of working at the bank. We have 19 global practices. We can easily reach out across the hallway to our colleagues, and yet there are institutional challenges and obstacles to that, and we're working on breaking those down and really trying to get more cross-sectoral work across the bank. I would say, however, that there are basic practicalities of getting the results of studies from something like the ARENA consortium of study, or suite of studies, to the bank. And what does that look like? And how do we actually distill the results into consumable information that will then trickle through our colleagues, our economists, staff at the World Bank, out into the policy dialogue we have with client governments. And just to give an example, Marie was over at the bank presenting a recent paper she's done looking at nutrition-sensitive agriculture just a few weeks ago. And I have already heard in the hallways, people saying, did you go to that seminar? Did you, have you seen the paper? And so I would say that, kind of one of the takeaways for me from, engaging with you here is that we basically need to repeat this whole seminar over at the bank, because we really need to have these discussions and present the data directly to the colleagues at the bank. We still often are preaching to the converted. I think that's an issue for nutrition. It's an issue for the nexus between ag and nutrition, but we need to kind of break down those barriers to access to information. And finally, I would say that sort of at the macro level, the bank and the ag portfolio at the bank still wrestles with some of these basic questions of operationalizing the results of something from like ARENA. So in addition to understanding how we best disseminate research findings, not only within the bank, but to our client countries, we need to understand how we move from implementation at scale and without sacrificing the kinds of impacts that you're seeing in the pilots. We have a lot of the obstacles are really nuts and bolts programming at country level. How do you work across ministries? What are the institutional arrangements for implementation? And that actually affects both inside the bank and in client countries. So, for example, at the bank, we're still working from the nutrition side in particular. How do we work more with our colleagues in governance, trade and competitiveness? So those are kind of basic things. Just I thought I would go a little bit more into the review of the work of the ag portfolio with respect to nutrition-sensitive agriculture, and then to talk about where some of these findings sit. We are seeing, moving from FY12 and 13 to looking at the portfolio 14, 15, and 16, 2016, that we're really moving. There is progress. We're going from sort of tweaking around the edges with community-driven development and sort of livelihoods type projects to much larger, more market-focused food safety, much sort of higher level, more big thinking type projects. The impact pathways that we were looking at go from on-farm availability, diversity, and safety of food to the whole arena of food markets and the environment in markets, value chains, making nutritious foods more available and affordable, convenient, and desirable. Post-harvest food management, issues around food storage, et cetera. Increasing income, women's empowerment, projects where you've got the pathway through nutrition knowledge and behavior change communication, and then not yet a whole lot on this pathway, but it's coming, natural resource management practices. And here, last week, we had the Shine and the Wash projects presenting at the bank. It was profoundly moving, I think, for a lot of people to hear the reports about the impact of animal feces ingestion for kids and on their guts, and to understand that we need to really work closely with our livestock colleagues. My key informant interview with this lead ag economist in the Africa region was very interesting to me. I said to him, what are the biggest challenges that remain in terms of uptake of the kind of results that IRINA is getting? And he said, we still need to send a strong message within the bank and within client countries. There's a lot of advocacy. There still is a fair amount of resistance to moving beyond increased incomes as being the answer. I was surprised at that. We are experimenting at the bank now. There's a recent, it's just about to come to fruition in Rwanda, where we're looking at the idea of geographic convergence. So we have a project, social protection project, and a health project, all converging with the overarching goal, the umbrella is stunting reduction. The economist said that in his opinion, within the bank ag portfolio, that there's a really strong focus now on market availability as opposed to crop diversification at the household level. He sees there's quite a big push on developing rural productive alliances for farmer groups. And their emphasis is on developing processing technologies, commercial strategies to bring products to market. So the idea that we need to really look seriously at animal source protein, high nutrient, but perishable crops and produce, I think will resonate very well. He also said that there's a fair amount of push on rural roads development because we just need to bring these products to market. In terms of where the challenges he saw to go further and better with the kind of results that IRINA is getting, having enough technical nutrition staff joining the ag project design work, engaging in policy dialogue is still an issue. And I don't know if that's something that you found too when you're talking and disseminating the results, but there still is a sense that we need more engagement with nutrition specialists on the ag side. There's also a sense that we still need to do more and better nutrition analyses as we're doing the development of the ag work in countries. And finally, he said very specifically the idea of really focusing on avoiding potential harm to nutrition status through things like work on livestock and making sure that kids are not being exposed to animal feces really resonated with him. So that this was also, I think those results are going to fall on very, very fertile ears, so to speak. So I really look forward to hopefully having everyone come over to the bank and present this whole set of findings there and continuing the engagement between our institutions. Thank you.